Imagine if I told you that starting now you wouldn't need to spend hours every weekend cleaning your house. You wouldn't need to buy expensive storage organizers or keep talking yourself into cleaning tomorrow. And here's the interesting part. Your home might start to feel calmer than before, and you might not even understand why. Because the truth is, the problem was never that we don't clean enough. The problem is that our systems let clutter build up, little by little, every single day. A cup gets left somewhere, a charger ends up somewhere else, a bill or a shopping bag lands in some random spot, and slowly, the whole house starts filling up. Until one day we suddenly think, wait, when did my house get this messy? Now let's take a trip to Japan, a country with some of the smallest apartments in the world. Storage space is limited there, and life is just as busy as anywhere else. People go to work, kids go to school, everyone gets the same 24 hours a day. And yet, when you walk into a Japanese home, there's a strange feeling to it. It's almost as if the house is breathing, as if everything has a place, as if there's no noise, just a kind of calm. What's most surprising is that none of this comes from some expensive robot vacuum, luxury furniture, or secret cleaning hack. It comes from small habits, so deeply woven into daily life that people almost never have to sit down and clean. Because mess never really gets a chance to start. Imagine never having to search for your keys on your way out the door in the morning. The kitchen already clean, only what's genuinely needed sitting on the dining table. And instead of coming home in the evening and starting to clean, you get to sit down and enjoy your tea right away. That's the reality Japanese habits gradually create. I think after today's journey, you'll start seeing your home differently, maybe even your whole daily life differently too. Because today we're not just picking up cleaning tips, we're going to genuinely understand why Japanese homes feel so calm, so organized, so peaceful. Behind every one of these habits sits a philosophy, a mindset, a kind of simplicity that's made Japan not just clean, but one of the most mindful cultures in the world. So let's start with a quiet Japanese morning. Habit number 1, the one-touch rule. As the name suggests, the secret here is touching things only once. Picture a quiet morning in Tokyo, an older Japanese woman preparing breakfast. She uses a bowl and immediately rinses it. It takes about 30 seconds. Now in Japan, nobody formally calls this the one-touch rule. It's just a natural part of how people live. The idea, simply put, don't handle the same thing over and over. Use it, put it back, done. Use, return, done. Now picture a scene in your own home. You get back from work. Bag straight onto the sofa, keys left on the dining table, water bottle abandoned in the bedroom, shoes kicked off in the middle of the entryway. And what do we tell ourselves? I'll put it away later. I'm tired right now. That's exactly where the problem actually starts. Here's the interesting part. Clutter never happens in a single day. It's built out of 1,000 tiny, I'll deal with it later moments. Every time we set something down in a temporary spot instead of its proper place, we're basically handing our future selves a small, unfinished task. And gradually, all those tiny unfinished tasks pile up into a genuinely stressful environment. Psychologists actually connect this to something called decision fatigue. Every time you spot something lying around out of place, your brain quietly runs a tiny decision loop. Should I pick that up? No, I'll deal with it later, not now. Whether you consciously register it or not, those little visual reminders are constantly draining your mental energy in the background. Japanese homes solve this in a completely different way. For them, every object's journey is simple. Use it, return it, done. That's why they rarely need to sit down later and do a big declutter, because clutter never really gets the chance to build up in the first place. If you only take one habit away from today, let it be this one. Go home tonight and decide. Your keys always go in the same spot, your shoes always go in the same place, your coffee mug never sits out on the table overnight. Yes, it'll probably feel a little strange for the first few days, but after a few weeks, you'll notice your mind feels lighter even before your house looks any different. But the secret to Japanese homes isn't just putting things away right away. There's another small habit at work too, one that helps keep the whole house clean by simply not letting outside mess in the first place. Habit number 2, the leave it at the door mindset. If you've ever visited Japan, or even just seen photos of traditional Japanese homes, you've probably noticed a small, raised step right at the entrance. That space is called the Genkan. At first glance, it might just look like somewhere to store shoes. But in Japanese culture, it's actually considered one of the most meaningful spaces in the entire home. Picture an office worker coming home after a long day. The rush of trains, traffic, endless meetings, deadlines, notifications constantly buzzing. Then he reaches his front door. What's the first thing he does? He takes his shoes off. A lot of people assume this is purely about cleanliness. And yes, part of it is that outdoor dust, dirt, and bacteria all get trapped right there at the entrance, which is exactly why the floors of Japanese homes stay so naturally clean. But that's not the whole story. The Genkan is actually a kind of psychological transition point. It's like telling yourself, the outside world stays out there. I'm home now. So it's not just shoes being removed. The stress of the day slowly starts melting away too. That might be exactly why Japanese homes carry that particular sense of peace the moment you step inside. Now picture your own home. We often wander around still wearing our shoes, right? Sometimes a delivery shows up and we walk straight to the kitchen with it still on. Sometimes we step out to the balcony, then straight into the bedroom, and outdoor dust comes right along with us. But it's not only dust that comes in with us. Sometimes it's stress too. Office tension, traffic frustration, an argument with someone. We carry all of that inside just as easily. Here's the thing. Even if your home doesn't have a traditional Genkan, you can still recreate that feeling. Put a small shoe rack near your entrance, lay down a clean mat, keep a pair of indoor slippers nearby, and set one simple rule: shoes stay right here. This one small habit won't just cut down your cleaning time. It'll also give you a small, mindful pause every time you walk through the door. That 1-minute pause can genuinely shift the mood of your entire day, and that's really the beauty of Japanese philosophy. They don't treat cleaning as some separate burden. They just fold it naturally into everyday life. But there's more to it. Japanese people don't just keep their homes clean, they also make sure only things they genuinely need come into the house at all. And there's a lovely concept in Japan for exactly this. Habit number 3, Mottainai, or respecting what you own. Be honest for a second. How many old phone chargers do you have lying around that don't fit any device anymore? How many plastic containers with mismatched lids? How many coffee mugs that never actually get used? Old gift boxes, tangled cables, old diaries, an endless collection of shopping bags, and that one drawer that the moment you open it feels like you've stumbled into a tiny museum. And you know the most common excuse? Leave it. It might come in handy someday. This isn't unique to any one culture. People everywhere collect things this way. But Japan developed a genuinely different approach to this exact problem called Mottainai. The word doesn't translate cleanly into English, but roughly speaking, it means never letting the true value in something go to waste. And note, this doesn't mean holding on to every old object forever. It actually means the opposite. If something has already served its purpose, letting it go with real gratitude, a genuine thank you, is itself a form of respect. That's why, in Japanese homes, every object effectively gets asked one deep question. Are you still part of my life today? If the answer is yes, that item gets properly cared for. If the answer is no, it gets passed along to someone who needs it, recycled, or respectfully let go. And that's exactly why Japanese minimalism never feels cold or sterile. There's real warmth to it, real intentionality. Now look at your own home. A lot of the time, we don't keep things because we actually need them. We keep them because making a real decision about them feels harder than just leaving them where they are. And every extra object doesn't just sit on a shelf quietly. It demands a piece of your attention too. It needs cleaning, it needs a spot, and eventually it needs finding. Japanese philosophy reminds us that the goal was never simply fewer things. The goal is keeping the things that actually matter. Try a small experiment today. Open just one drawer in your home and ask everything inside it. Are you still part of my life today? Cleaning out even that one drawer might lighten your mind a little more than you expect. Look, we tend to have big hearts about this. We hold on to things because they carry memories, and honestly, that's a genuinely beautiful thing. But Japanese philosophy raises a deeper question. Do memories really live inside objects? Or do they live in us? Worth sitting with, isn't it? Here's the interesting part, though. The Japanese don't just cut down on unnecessary things. They also make sure cleaning itself never turns into some huge production. And that might be their most practical, most brilliant secret of all. Habit number 4, daily micro-cleaning. You've probably noticed how a lot of us turn cleaning into a whole event. Sunday rolls around, and we flip the entire house. Upside down. Sweep, mop, scrub the bathroom, tackle the kitchen, sort the wardrobe, everything at once. By evening, you're so exhausted that just hearing cleaning mentioned for next week makes you want to scream. In Japan, the approach is completely different. Cleaning isn't treated as an event. It's treated as a natural rhythm. Picture breakfast wrapping up. The table gets wiped in about 20 seconds. Coffee gets made. The cup gets rinsed immediately after. Someone uses the bathroom, runs a quick squeegee over the surfaces. A little water spills on the kitchen counter and it gets wiped up right away with a cloth. Each of these tasks takes maybe 20 or 30 seconds. Looked at individually, it feels like nothing's really happening. But add it all up across a full day, and you realize the house simply never gets the chance to get dirty. It works kind of like compound interest. These tiny daily efforts quietly eliminate the need for those long, exhausting cleaning marathons. And the best part is, this habit doesn't depend on willpower at all. It just becomes part of the normal rhythm of the day. That's why people in Japan often say cleaning isn't something you do, it's something you live, meaning it's not a chore, it's simply a way of life. And that's probably why cleanliness in these homes never feels forced or artificial. It just feels completely natural. But another question remains. If things get put away immediately and a little cleaning happens every day, why do so? Many homes still end up feeling messy. The answer comes down to one very simple principle. Everything should have a home. Which brings us to our next habit. Habit number 5. Every item needs a home. If I asked you right now, how much precious time did you spend just this morning looking for something? The answer might genuinely surprise you. Has this ever happened to you? You're rushing to leave. You need your car keys, and suddenly the entire house turns into a search operation? Here's the thing. The problem was never really the keys getting lost. The problem is that those keys never had a permanent home to begin with. In Japan, there's a very simple rule at play. If something doesn't have its own designated home, it'll end up making the entire house its home instead. Take a small apartment in Kyoto. Storage space is extremely limited there, and yet every spoon, every bag, has its own fixed spot. So nobody has to sit down each day and redecide where things go. A TV remote that shows up on the sofa one day and the bed the next. That's not really a space problem or a location problem. It's a systems problem. In this way of thinking, better storage doesn't mean adding more cabinets to your house. It means giving each item a permanent identity of its own. So why not pick one category in your home today and give those items a real permanent home? Habit number 6. Think vertical, not horizontal. How do you make even a tiny space feel larger and more open? The secret isn't on the floor, it's on the walls. In Japan, instead of covering the floor with things, people lean on their walls instead. You'll find hooks mounted in kitchens, hanging organizers inside wardrobes, and the result? The floors stay almost completely empty. And once the floor is clear, even a small room suddenly feels noticeably bigger. For them, a good space isn't created only by nice furniture, it's also created by the empty space you deliberately leave behind. Meanwhile, what's our instinct? The moment we spot a bare wall, we immediately want to put a plant there. See an empty shelf? We quickly fill it with some decorative object. We often feel like every empty space needs filling, or the house will feel somehow incomplete. But Japanese design philosophy says the opposite. Not every space needs to be filled. Sometimes it's the empty space itself that lets a home breathe. There's actually a whole concept for this in Japan called ma. Ma simply means the beauty of empty space. The same way the silence between two musical notes is exactly what makes the music beautiful. And I don't think this only applies to our homes. We stuff our calendars with meetings and tasks, our phone galleries with thousands of photos, our minds with constant overthinking. And then, completely worn out, we say, life is just too stressful. Honestly, when people first hear about Japanese minimalism, they assume it's just about throwing things away. But in reality, this whole philosophy is about making room for the things that actually matter in your life. So ask yourself today, shouldn't we all be leaving a little more empty space, not just in our homes, but in our minds and in our lives overall? Because in the end, a clean, organized home was never really about impressing guests or outsiders. The real meaning of a clean home is creating a place where the moment you walk through the door after an exhausting day, the weight of that day genuinely starts to lift, where it just melts away. A place where coming home actually brings you real peace. And if you sit with that for a second, that might be the single most beautiful thing any home can give us. So, after everything we've covered, which of these 6 Japanese habits do you think you could start today? If you enjoy Japan's simple, thoughtful, life-enhancing way of thinking about things, subscribe to this channel and stick around for the journey. We'll see you in the next one.